What's good, my lovelies, lovely soul? Empress here, coming to do Friday's live reading. Okay, today we're going to talk about how pain and fear block your success. Okay, so I'm just going to light some incense. I'm going to talk about some things. I have a couple of slots still open in the ritual at the end of the month. If you haven't gotten your slot, I suggest you do so quickly. Okay. Let's get some sage going. What's good, Copenhagen? What's good, BJ Campbell? Give everybody a second to come in. Okay. Trying to get a good burn going. All right. Okay. So I wanted to talk about this subject because I feel like there are times when your higher self is at war with your shadow self or the darker corners of your mind, okay? Thank you. I feel so much better. Okay, I was having such a bad allergy attack for like 2 days and I needed to get my whole life together. Okay, so now I'm back. So we're going to talk about some things. Okay, you love the blue. I love the blue too. I love the blue too. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to get some decks because, sometimes we can delay our own progress. Just got some ashes on my desk. We can delay our own progress because we're so concerned about something that hasn't happened yet or that something will happen again, okay? Yeah, I need some allergy-friendly incense. That's right. Actually, the incense doesn't get me. I think, before I moved to Ohio, I used to just have summer allergies. And whatever is out here, it's like I have it year round now. So I'll be ready to leave Ohio because I feel like there's a lot of things that I must be allergic to. So, okay, so like I was saying, there's sometimes something that has happened before to us or something that we think may happen will block us from where we are supposed to be right now. Right? So, looking too far back will bring anxiety for tomorrow. Looking too far ahead will bring anxiety for today. Okay, so we're going to pull some cards. We're going to take a look at what Spirit has to say about this. It sure does. Ohio got me toward up. Okay. So let's get some oracles, see what Spirit has to say about fear and pain and how that affects how we're moving or what we're doing in the present. Because anytime that you're, stuck in the past or have anxiety about the future, it's giving you like paralysis in the present, okay? Anything else? Okay. Door to values at the bottom of the deck, right? And I feel like this door to value is what we're trying to achieve or what we're trying to build. Number 31 reduces to a 4, which is, you know, the building number, right? And I feel like sometimes there's a need to look at why we value something, or if we're being valued by a certain situation. Okay? Because in our humanness, we may want, first off, let me just say that you could have a moral code, right? As everybody does. You can have a particular moral code. And when someone betrays you in some way, whether it's through finances, love, family, whatever, right? You wonder why this person would do this to you, especially if it's something that you feel goes against your own moral code. But that is projecting your values onto someone else. And in our humanness, we want to be understood. We want to be heard. And sometimes we want to be right. Right? And you may not ever get the response, the respect, or the acknowledgement of this code or a reflection of what is right from another individual. And I feel like spirit, part of our journey here is understanding that we are a divine sovereign being unto ourselves, okay? And so is this other person, right? So let's take children, for instance. You have a child. Let's say you have 4 children. Each of those children is going to be a different person. You're going to instill morals into them, but they're going to have certain traits in them that have to do with the way they see things, okay? And no matter what you do as a parent, you can lead them, but you can't force them to see things the way you see things, right? This also applies to a friendship, to a romantic situation, right? So sometimes in our desire to be understood, we're preventing ourselves from solutions because in essence, you're waiting for someone else to get it, okay? You're waiting for someone else to get your perspective, and that could be possibly a waste of time, okay? So number 17, action is here. And I was saying that sometimes this can cause spiritual paralysis because you're waiting for someone else to understand how you feel, how you think, how you envision a situation. And while you're doing that, the action that you should be taking in that day, in that season, is being suspended. Okay? Door to romance. This most often shows up in romantic situations. It also can be, you know, like I said, family, friendships, right? We have a vision of what it should be. So I'm going to give you from my own personal life. My grandparents were married over 50 years. My great-grandparents probably had over about 60 years together. Okay? My mother and my father, they divorced when I was young, but my mother remarried and she was with my stepfather till he passed, okay, which was 18 years, right? So if you believe in the foundation of marriage, you know, happily ever after, till death do us part, and you get in a relationship with somebody who does not see or was not raised with the same moral code, you're going to be expecting them to know and to give you what you believe is right, but they might have a whole other code, okay? Appreciation, right? They may not have the same appreciation for love or for friendship or for family, right? They may have a whole other code, okay? She said, I can tell I'm about to I'm about to be drugged through the mud on this one. Let me buckle up. Okay, so, sometimes the way we see the world, we expect it to be. But even, and let me just pause before we get into the other person, right? Even our perception could be blocking us, right? Because maybe in this leg of the journey, what Spirit's trying to tell you is don't worry about what this other person is, if they appreciate you or they don't appreciate you. We put you here for a specific mission. And while you are so focused on how this person sees you, responds to you, or interacts with you, it's preventing you from the journey you're supposed to be on, right? The thinking woman, right? So here, and this happens, I'm sure it happens to men too. I'm not trying to blame the feminines, but we deal with this the most, okay? We deal with this the most because we are raised in this society to be self-sacrificing. Whether it's for our children, our families, our husbands, we're self-sacrificing. That's what the role has been constructed for us, right? So when we don't have this control, our mind starts to race. What happens if so-and-so, what happens if I trust this person and they betray me? Or I trusted them, they betrayed me, we're trying to work on it. But my fear is that they're gonna do it again, right? Or let's say for instance that you have an opportunity to achieve some level of success. What's good, Tamila? Some level of success for yourself that's independent, but you're worried about how your partner will respond to that. Let's use me for instance, okay? Like I'm a tarot reader, right? High priestess, Reiki, all of that, right? I have a family. I have a relationship. If I would have stayed in the frame of mind, like, well, if I do this, they may not appreciate my decisions, then that would have stopped me from my own path, right? So I had to throw caution to the wind and let the chips fall where they may. Oftentimes, we're afraid to do that because we want to hold on to things, because we feel like that's the way it should be. So I'm going to do what I have to do to make this situation work. But what you're not realizing is that there's a whole other person or other people, and you can't control how they're going to respond. No matter how much you think about it, no matter how many rails you try to put up to contain a situation, to contain something to have a particular outcome, you're fighting against the wind. You're fighting with the wind. You're fighting with the winds of change, okay? The world, okay? You're trying to prevent an ending, or you're trying to make a particular outcome be. And that very energy of you trying to force your projection onto a situation can be the very thing that's blocking you from achieving what you really want, right? Because, like, using my own situation, right? Had I not taken the leap of faith to step out on that limb and go after what I want, I would have never known that my family would support me, right? I would have been stuck in my head, right? Let's use another situation. Let's use romance. let's say you've been hurt in the past by somebody else or the person that you're with, right? And you decided that you're going to give it a second chance. Whether this is the same person or you're like, I'm just going to give a second chance to love, even though I got my ass handed to me in the last relationship, right? But your fear of repeating a cycle or repeating a cycle that you saw as a child will fuck you up, okay? Because now what you're thinking about is what might happen. Well, this could happen. This person could end up hurting me like the last person, or this person could hurt me like they did in the past. But what what you think about, you bring about, right? And not only what you think about, you bring about, but while you're giving all this energy to trying to control an outcome over something that in reality you have no control over. You have no control over someone else's behavior, someone else's thoughts, someone else's moral code, right? While you're doing that, you're not achieving your own goals. You're blocking your own success. You could be causing yourself undue anxiety. Okay? Attune to the divine, right? And when you're worried about someone else's decision that they haven't made yet or that they haven't done yet, you're actually cutting off your attunement or your connection to the divine, because it's only but so much energy that you can put to something. So either you're putting it to the connection with the divine, or you're putting it into trying to control a particular outcome. And then that means that you feel that somehow what you desire is more important than somebody else's, right? And that may be hard to accept. That, if you go after something that you want, you may lose something else. But this is the ebb and the flow, right? Maybe certain things, certain people aren't meant to go on the journey, or maybe they will, but because you're so concerned about the outcome, what you're projecting is fear. And what you're projecting is enlarging the pain that you have already experienced or that you fear experiencing. And that is preventing you from reaching what you're supposed to be going after, right? Embrace the flow of life. And it's in reverse, because you can't do the two, you can't hold the two spaces, right? Faith in the divine and trying to project a particular outcome on someone else. And this is this is like the hardest thing that we have to accept in our life. Let's say you have a bad relationship with one of your parents and you want them to see you as worthy of love, as loving, as successful, as good. No matter what you do, you can't force that person. So what you'll be doing is tearing yourself down rather than achieving what you want and leaving them to their own devices. Because one of the things I learned probably in my late 20s is that other people's opinion of me is none of my business, right? How does it affect me, right? What they eat don't make me shit, right? It may hurt me, but I just have to accept that we're not aligned in the sense of the way we envision things. And that's okay, right? New moon in Aries, go for it, right? So while you are concerned about somebody else's actions that they may have not even taken yet, or that they took in the past and you're afraid that they'll take again, you are frozen in where from moving forward. You're frozen. Because while you're waiting to see what's going to happen, you're not taking action. So you've actually given your power to someone else. Okay? Trust all that all will be well. That's what we need to do. But our humanness tricks us. Okay? It tricks us into wanting to protect ourselves. But honestly, you know, there's only but so much protection you can do, right? What was Bob Marley said? Everyone will hurt you, but you have to decide who's worth getting hurt for, right? Conversely, what type of pain will you tolerate? You're gonna experience pain because with the lows comes the highs, right? So after you heal from some type of pain, you get an ascension, you get a breakthrough, right? So if you are trying to control what is coming in, you're missing the opportunity and the lesson so that you can propel forward. So you're not aiding yourself. And truthfully, your fear or your pain may actually be putting this person to pull away from you more, because the truth of the matter is you don't feel whole. Because even if this person isn't hearing that or they're not seeing that, what they energetically feel is that you don't feel complete. And that you need somebody else to either agree with you, see your perspective, or complete some part. And that you don't feel you can do that alone. And that is very, you know, that's a hard lesson, okay? That's a hard lesson. Yes, parental approval has always been my biggest blockage, she says. Right, if people don't like you, they have bad taste. Right, you just gotta let people, you know, and recognize, and people change their mind. You have changed your mind many times in your life. But while you're trying to cage an outcome, you're not allowing the person, the room, to change their mind. Right? And if they change their mind, right? How does that change you? It doesn't. It doesn't. Like, we have to go after our own desires and recognize that a part of this journey belongs solely to us, and that what is meant for us will be there at the end. But oftentimes, what ends up happening is that in our need to protect ourselves, which really comes off as being controlling from the exterior, from other people's perspective, actually sabotages our own growth, our own path forward. Okay? And I understand, and I have talked about when I, first started my channel, I was going through a lot of personal problems, and I had to come to a place of recognizing that I, not anyone else, I had given my power away because I was worried about the pain and the fear of what could happen. Will someone betray me? Will someone support me? Will somebody love me the way I love them? These are blockages that we're creating for ourselves. Third eye, visions, manifesting meditation, right? And it could be that your third eye is screaming to you about something that is actually going to happen, right? Let's say that it's actually going to happen. Let's say that somebody's actually going to betray you and your intuition is fucking hollering at you like this is about to go down, right? You could stand on one foot, do everything that you can think of, put all those safety parameters to protect yourself. And it does not mean that they won't still make that decision. All you've done is build anxiety in yourself. So there's only really two things that you can do, right? The first is decide that you're unwilling to take the risk with this person, and you have every right to do so should you choose to, right? or you can surrender it to the divine. And if they betray you, you see the situation for what it is, and then you walk away. These are the options, right? Or we could block our heart chakra, trying to use just our head chakra, like, well, if I say this, maybe they won't do that. Or if I tell them not to do this, then maybe they'll listen. Or if I make sure that I know what they're doing, then maybe this won't happen. All you're doing is making yourself fucking crazy. Vegans, right? Solitude, independent peace. This is about what you allow within your temple, right? What do you allow in your temple? Because, we have a lot of different emotions, but what's who's running the show? Fear or love? Who's running the show? Pain or joy, right? So we have to recognize that it's not just about the bad food that we eat, but it's also the emotions that we magnify within ourselves because we think that we can make a particular outcome, and it never works that way. Water element, reflection, kindness, compassion. And with this water element, a lot of times we're focused on the other person, whether this is a parent, a lover, a friend. We're focused on the other person and what we feel they're doing to us, because it's easier to do that than to say, I hurt. I need to shed this emotion. This may not work. I'm not in control. So it's so much easier to worry about what this other person is doing than to accept that something may not work. Right? Alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone, and it says infinity, destiny, magic. Now we should, I'm a big advocate for cleansing our energy, doing spiritual work on ourselves, right? Sometimes in fear, there are people who will try to bind someone to them. And all they bind it is the fear, is the pain. Because maybe you were supposed to release that, but your inability to want to see or want to experience the pain that will come after you have to accept something. So because of that, you'll stay worrying about what the other person is doing or what they're saying so that you don't have to experience the inevitable. Anunnaki, controlling, drama, conflict of interest, right? So let's just say you have a fear of your child repeating a mistake that you made in your life. And so let's say for instance, you had sex too early. Let's just use that, right? You had sex too early. It's caused you all kinds of toxic relationships. So you have a child and you want to prevent them from making the mistakes that you made. So you tell them come home right after school. You don't let them go no fucking where, right? You're constantly checking their phones. You're doing all this stuff, right? Not saying that it's not good to, occasionally check on what your children are doing. You're supposed to do that, right? But what you're doing is not trusting. You're showing them that trust is not there, that you want to control them, right? So actually it's having the adverse effect, a conflict of interest. Now this child is going to hide things from you. It's going to lie to you, okay? Because they also have to have a certain amount of experiences, whether they're good or bad, to become their complete person, to follow their soul's journey, right? In a relationship, right? Let's say somebody has cheated on you and, you broke up, you got back together, maybe as some time has passed, this person appears to have changed. Now they come back in, you guys are working on something, but every day you want to make sure that they're not doing it again. So you're controlling the outcome. It's actually causing the reverse effect. It means that you're not completely healed. Okay, you're not completely healed, and you're gonna project the very thing that you don't want to come in. Okay, Vesica, Pisces, divine feminine, birthing, fertility. So while this is happening, masculine or feminine, you can't birth the things that you're supposed to be birthing for your own life, okay? Because remember that the divine feminine, she births the creativity, right? So the creativity to go after your own dreams. You're actually causing this stagnancy that won't allow you to manifest what you want or what you should be doing for your life, because what you're manifesting is fear and pain and control and codependency. And you have told this person that they are more important than you are. And now they're worried about what they want and you're worried about what they want. But they're not worried about you because you don't worry about you. So why should they worry about you? Right? Now you both in agreement that this person is the important person. That made me hot. Okay, so Spirit just got angry. Spirit just got angry about giving over the control of our lives and our destinies to other people because we've told them that they're more important than we are. Because we're waiting for a particular response so that then we can go after what we want. And guess what's going to happen? That shit is not going to happen. They're going to stay focused on themselves. And then you're going to stay in this frozen paralysis, spiritual paralysis. I feel like in my own personal life, and I'm not saying that I don't struggle. Everybody struggles, right? I've struggled with this for a long fucking time, right? But in my own personal life, I had to realize that I don't have control over other people's decisions. I can only control mine, right? And I have to concentrate on what it is that I want to manifest into my own life. It's so funny that because the card, and there's others that I'm going to talk about, but as I said that, I have to manifest what I want in my own life. Look what came out, freedom. And they have the freedom to manifest what they want in theirs, okay? So the first card out here is intuition. And it says, each person's road to the inner Lord is extraordinary and personal. How liberating to listen inside and sense moment to moment what's needed. But if you are concentrated, if you're using your intuition, not for your own growth, not for your own destiny, not for what you want to manifest for your own life, but you're using it basically to try to control an outcome or a situation that is at someone else's discretion. Now you've upended your own ability to manifest or to call in your own success, okay? It's almost a misuse of power, and especially for those of you, that watch this channel, right? Because these are people who are on their spiritual journey, who are sharpening their intuition. So, are you going to use it for good or for bad? This goes back to the moral code, right? Are you going to use it for your own growth, or are you going to use it for your stagnation? Because that's what's going to happen, because you're giving the power to somebody else. It's a true offering here. And it says the true offering takes what can be an unbearable cross and returns it to love, right? So while you are, what is this person going to hurt me? Is my mom ever going to love me? Is this kid going to make the mistake that I made? All these things, right? You're making it's like you're walking in the desert with the cross on your back, right? But when you surrender to the divine, that all is already well, and all shall be what it will be, and it's for your highest good, then it doesn't feel so personal. It doesn't feel like an attack on you, okay? It means that they've chosen something else, okay? And then you have grounded. while you are worried and in your head constantly thinking about somebody else's decision, you have lost touch with your root chakra and with your solar plexus, because your solar plexus is where you take action, right? So what does the solar plexus rule? Fight, flight, or frozen. So now you have frozen this solar plexus. You're not connected or grounded to what it is that would be for your highest good. You're just stuck in your head because you're afraid, or because you're still in some form of pain. Okay? And then you have here the freedom card. Like I said, I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. So for instance, let's say it's a past relationship. You're not even with this fucking person anymore. You meet a fabulous person, right? But they might have a trait or two that maybe triggers you, or maybe they don't. And you're just so concerned, like, is this person gonna do the same thing to me? That what you're not realizing is, in this constriction, you're causing resentment towards them in you, because you suspect that they will automatically treat you as this other person, but they're also going to get resentment against you because they can't fucking breathe, right? Limitless. See yourself open to receive in the most miraculous way. The divine can use anything and anyone, right? So if the divine can use anything and anyone, they could be using someone else, someone that is close to you, to teach you that you are not in control, that you are only in control of your own decisions, but not in theirs. And that this is part of being part of the collective consciousness, that we are just a speck, and yet we are God in our own right. Right? So rule your universe, not someone else's, right? Liberation, and watch how you feel free. And watch how many people will choose you because they value you. But if you don't value you, how can they? The doubts and fears still come up. You don't believe anymore that they're you. Look at that. What's good, lady soldier? The doubts and fears still come up. You don't believe anymore that they're you. So it's not to say that you'll never feel fear. But fear and doubt will not rule you anymore. And that's the lesson that Spirit is going to teach us, right? So no matter what, whether something goes your way or not, if you don't accept that, you only have sovereignty over your own decisions, Spirit's going to keep bringing in people to make you get that message. Meaning you're going to experience more pain and fear until you accept that this is not something, you can't control the choices that someone else makes. Okay, so we're gonna get some tarot. I'm not gonna keep you guys super long today. I feel like Spirit's telling us to free ourselves from doubt and fear, because it's actually causing us blockages. Okay, Spirit, can you show me? Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. These are the burdens that we're carrying by overthinking. By, first off, not only are you carrying your own burdens and your own fears and your own doubts, but now you also are carrying somebody else's, because they don't got to worry about it because you are. right? You've already told them that their decision is more important than yours because you've not made a decision. You're waiting to make one according to them, right? You got the Wheel of Fortune here. Spirit, why is this Wheel of Fortune here? Wheel of Fortune with the Magician, right? The wheel would continue to move as I could make it happen if I just, use my magician powers, right? I have the tools, I can control it. I just need to focus. And, I'll research, and magician could be sneaky, right? I'm gonna sneak around and make sure that this person, this thing doesn't hurt me, because that's how I control how the wheel's gonna move and how this collaboration is gonna move forward. You're actually chasing this person away though. Okay? Because your fear and toxicity and codependency is causing your burdens and their burdens. And now the whole situation is stuck. Whether this is a parent, a child, a loved one, it doesn't matter, right? And then even if you're in the relationship or you have connection with this child or this parent, you're like an island. You're isolated emotionally because you're not feeling understood. You're not feeling heard, right? Hermit, Spirit, why? Right? And then the Wheel of Fortune comes, right? So now you're going round and round in your head, going round and round, right? Two of Pentacles. What's going to happen? Are they going to choose me? Are they not going to choose me? Are they going to see my perspective? They don't see my perspective. What's going to happen? Right? And now this other person, they have two options. Is this person going to allow me to make my own decisions? Is this person, worth me holding on to if everything they're going to be over my shoulder, right? That's not going to work, right? It's illuminating with the sun, illuminating that there's a lack of trust, right? That there's a need to go to calmer waters. But how do you do that, right? The King of Swords is like, how do I get this person off my fucking back with the Five of Pentacles? Five of Wands, right? The conflict. How do I get out of this conflict? Can I do it by being honest with this person? Or do I have to move in silence because, they won't, I feel like I'm being watched, right? I always feel like somebody's watching me, right? Or the reverse. Let me call them, tell them where I am right now. Let me check in, let me do, right? And it's strangling the Six of Cups out, okay? That young love, that happy love, or family, because the Six of Cups can be family, childhood, siblings. This is all preventing that frequency of joy, right? Now you got the Temperance card here, Spirit. And this doesn't mean, listen, I'm saying like this, whatever your fear is, could very well happen. But you worrying about it ahead of time, how is that going to change the outcome? If that's going to be the outcome, how does it change it? How does it change it, right? Or, you could have used that time. You can share this video, absolutely. You could have used that time towards a solution for yourself, but you didn't because you were so worried about the fear, okay? Temperance. This is crazy too. All right. So you want a specific outcome and divine timing, patience, right? Maybe Spirit's telling you to be patient, but you can't because you can't turn your fucking brain off. What's going to happen? How's this going to go? Is this person going to betray me? Or is this person going to see me the way I want them to see me? Or are they going to love me? Whatever, because it could be a million things, right? In that, right, you're not speaking your truth. You're not. You're speaking your fears, but you're not speaking your truth. Hey, this doesn't align with me. This is not letting me heal, right? I don't feel like this is an equal give and take, right? You may even feel like if I speak my mind, this person won't give to me equally. So now they have a particular power over you. You have silenced yourself. They haven't silenced you. You've silenced you because you're afraid of what the response will be if you make your decision. If you make your decision based on what you want and what you feel rather than how they're going to respond to your decision. So now you have given them the power. So really, it's not that they're not giving equally to you, it's that you didn't give equally to you. You gave them more than you gave yourself. Right? So who's blocking? Who's zooming? Who's blocking? Who's blocking the Nine of Cups, your wish fulfillment? Who's blocking your wish fulfillment to the Ten of Cups, right? Because you could waste decades trying to have your wish fulfillment with a particular person because you want the Ten of Cups with them. But if they're going to be in a Three of Cups and cheat on you, guess what? You have no control over that. So now you've wasted trying to make something be that isn't. You could spend 5 years, 10 years, whatever, right? Instead of accepting, like, let's say that it's the same person, right? I have gone through this myself. Let's say it's the same person, right? That hurt you in some way. And you give them another chance, but you're looking over their shoulder, right? You gave them the power. They recognize that, right? And in that, you're not feeding yourself, right? So what happens? They're not going to feed it either because you've told them that they're more important without you saying the words, right? So you're manifesting more of the same. You never chose your own boundaries because you were too worried about theirs. Will they love me? Will they commit to me? Will parents, right? Will they see me for who I am? All this shit. Like, let's say if you're part of the LGBTQ community and your parents are against that. Are you gonna live your life trying to get their approval? Or are you gonna enjoy the time that you have here and hopefully they will see, how happy your life makes you, and either they will or they won't, okay? Either they will or they won't. All right, Five of Cups with the Five of Wands. So all it's doing is that you're crying over spilled milk, whether it was in a prior relationship or the same one, right? And this is causing conflicts in the present. Conflicts in the present, whether it's the same person, it's not the same person. Conflicts in the present, conflicts within yourself, because now you're restricted because you feel like this person, they may not accept you, they may not choose you, they may not love you, right? So you have to be less so they could be more, because if you choose yourself, they're going to leave. So your fear is being left. Your fear is being hurt. Your fear is being cheated on. Your fear is being, all these things. But that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And conversely, because you're frozen in that energy, you're not choosing. Not only are you not choosing yourself, but you're not giving them the space to choose. Because they don't have to. Because you're too busy trying to choose for them instead of choosing for you. Right? Three of Pentacles. These are all about collaborations, whether it's our parents, whether it's our children, whether it's our lovers, right? Our best friends, whatever, right? Because we want them to work on it the way we want to work on it. with the Three of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. We want it to be a particular way, right? And maybe sometimes we're supposed to be accepting the death of that. Or maybe we're supposed to be somehow accepting the transformation in ourselves or in a situation so that it can get better. Like, let's say you broke up with somebody, you weren't with them for a year and a half. They had all kinds of shit go on in their life. You had all kinds of shit go on in yours, right? They come back, listen, I've grown. I realize all the mistakes, right? So you're like, fuck it, let's give it a shot. So you give it a shot, but you want to tell them how to work on it, right? Because you can't accept that they've transformed. So really what you're going to do is you're going to kill it. That's one way, right? Or maybe you're trying to force this collaboration with this Three of Pentacles to work when that shit was supposed to have been died, right? Then who caused the Ten of Wands, them or you? Them or you? Five of Swords. Five of Swords. So you feel in some way in your mind, you convince yourself, well, the reason why I'm worried about this is because I need to protect myself, or I'm just upset right now. But, you know, this is a valid thing, right? But the reason why you're so worried about how to control their decision is because you don't feel strong enough independently to deal with a decision that you don't like. But even our children are not ours. We are the stewards of their lives until they leave our homes. We're there to guide them. They don't belong to us. They don't. They have their own soul journey. Okay, think about your relationship with your parents, right? And you may have always wanted them to see you in a particular light. And that might be very painful to not have that. But the truth of the matter is, it's preventing you from getting to where it's like you feel you can't do it on your own. And what's causing that is your own self-doubt. You are manipulating yourself with the Five of Swords because the truth is you don't feel strong enough without this particular relationship, person, friend, whatever, right? And you're lying to yourself because you came into this world alone. You are, I'm going to say it again, a divine sovereign being. Nothing that you experience, even the worst of the worst, right? Even if it was caused by somebody else, right? You're meant to overcome the challenges. You're meant to overcome the challenges and to see your divine sovereign power, not to succumb to someone else's idea or give your power to someone else because you're afraid. You're afraid of an outcome or a choice, right? That somebody else has power over your life. But the reality is that you gave it to them, okay? With the Five of Pentacles, right? You gave them the power. No one can put you out in the cold unless you allow them to. Nobody can sit you in the corner, right? You could go through hard times. Listen, we go through all types of shit, even homelessness, right? Even homelessness, right? Passion, right? It's like, we're gonna go through shit that's gonna hurt us, that is gonna knock us down, that is gonna make us feel like we can't get up again. But that's the point, so that you can get that fire back in your belly and say, I'm gonna use the things that has happened to me to propel me to my destiny instead of holding it back, right? Chariot, you see? It's supposed to be the fire that pushes you in spite of the challenges, in spite of the challenges, okay? You got the 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Right? So you're trying to achieve something, right? In spite of the challenges, in spite of what other people say, in spite of how other people have done you, right? But how do you do that with the 10 of Wands if the 9 of Wands, which is the wounded warrior, right? The things that you have experienced are leaving you stuck in your head, okay? Leaving you stuck in your head, going over and over it. Look at, he's laying in a casket. His dreams are dying while he's worried about what's going to happen with a particular situation. 7 of Pentacles. Why can't we grow this? Why can't we fix this? Maybe this other person doesn't want to, or maybe they have a different solution, right? And the 7 of Wands, and you needing to see your own worth and your own boundaries as to your own sanity and your own happiness, right? Whether they're defensive to you or not, whether they're fucking lying or not, with the 7 of Cups, right? How do you find the strength to surrender to the fact that you can't make other people choose what you want them to choose? If that were the case, you know, we would all be able to make people be with us, but then there wouldn't be free will, right? Whether this is love, children, I want to stress, because I don't want people to think that this only applies in one way. It doesn't. Like, we deal with this shit in almost every aspect of our life, okay? Where we let our fears or our doubts or our pain block us from our own journey. Look at what's at the bottom of the deck, journey. Okay? You got the Lovers out here. Okay? A lot of times, you see these 2 doves? A lot of times we're not allowing the purity of a relationship to show itself, or the impurity, because we're too busy, you know, projecting our pain, projecting our shadow. So we're actually muddying it up, especially when it's something that happened with the past with someone else and you're not even with that person. It's somebody completely new, but you brought the, you know, you brought the baggage. You brought the fucking baggage with you, right? The Lovers. And what happens? You done took yourself out your frequency. Look at this divine feminine, completely upended. Projected for days, months. How long will it take you to get your frequency back? Because you're worried about some shit that hasn't even happened and what somebody else is going to choose. And in that time period, you're not making any choices because, again, you're in spiritual paralysis. Okay, here's the privileged lady. You're not even going to be able to appreciate all that is given to you through spirit because you're too worried about something else. You can't even acknowledge. You know, I was telling somebody yesterday, a male friend of mine who's been going through some traumas, you know, and he was complaining about the things that have happened in the 6 months, right? And I said to this person, because I wanted them to see the cup as half full instead of half empty. Yes, all those things that you mentioned are true, but do you realize how many people have died in the last 2 years due to, you know, the virus or whatever, right? And you're still here. You still have an opportunity to, you know, fulfill your dreams or to go after the things that you want. The only person that's stopping you is you see? Privileged lady, hideaway, escapade, right? Vacation, right? Adventure. Are you going to go after the things that you want, or are you going to wait to see if somebody else says it's okay? Or if they're going to choose to go on that adventure with you? You've given your power away. Distant horizons. You could be waiting forever. One more, Spirit. Right? So you have distant horizons. You're very worried about what will happen in the future instead of what you could accomplish today, right? Verge, about to confess, reveal, right? You may be so much like, I'm afraid this is going to happen. I know you're just going to do this or whatever, that you never allow the person to show who they are. Actually, you're fine tuning them and giving them tips, right? So let's use a cheater, for instance. In this particular, this spread right here, right? The cheater, you're worried that this person will cheat on you again. Right? So you tell them, I'm afraid you're going to do this because last time you did this and this is how I knew you did it, right? All you're doing is giving them the playbook as to how you would discover it. So now they know, okay, when I do this, this tips them off. Okay? This tips them off. So all I got to do is not do that. All I got to do is reassure them and so you're giving them the playbook on how to lie to you. And maybe that's exactly why you're doing it. Maybe that's exactly why you're doing it, because you would rather tell them and have them tell you what you want to hear than deal with the reality, right? Soul moving, right? Physical change, location change. You don't want to have to deal with, that it's not going to work, right? Legal, court, paperwork filed, that it's going to come to an end, that the situation is karmic. You don't want to deal with that. So what you do is you tell them what you want to hear, right? And you could say, well, we have children together, right? So I got to hold this together. But you may not even realize that what you're doing is teaching your children that to be codependent and to give their power away and not to follow their own dreams and take a risk on themselves. Because when you take a risk on yourself, you realize who else will value you because you chose you. And then they'll want to choose you too, or they won't. And they'll make room for somebody who will. Right? But the being threatened, right? We don't want to take the gamble because we're threatened that we'll get lost, ghosted, blocked, right? Or we don't want to speak our truth because this person's going to retaliate. Or if we tell them that we're afraid, they're going to cut us off, right? So really, you're causing yourself this pain. And Archangel Michael's here like, I want to protect you from this tearing down of yourself. But you have to surrender wanting to control someone else because they are their own divine sovereign being. And you're fighting the current of your own life, right? So if you ever noticed when you're going in the wrong direction, I actually had put this up years ago on Facebook, right? Something about, what was it? It's like fighting against, when you're swimming against the current, you never get to where you want to go. So that's how you could tell that you're going in the wrong direction, right? Because it's not to say that the things that are for you won't take hard work, but you will eventually get there. If you're spinning your wheels and you're staying in the same place and you're worried about what somebody else is going to do and how this and this and this and this, then you're not the master of your frequency. You are not the navigator of this journey. They are. And they're not even necessarily on the same journey. You have to think, let's say you're in your 30s, right? You spend 0 to 30 on your own. You get in a relationship at 31. You've been in the relationship for 5 years. You're completely worried about some betrayal or something or some particular outcome, or maybe you're afraid that this union will look like your parents' union and it made you suffer so much, so you're so fucking afraid, right? But you're forgetting that you spent 30 years without this person. So the majority of your life had nothing to do with this person. You don't know if in the future they're even going to be involved. So you have completely frozen your progress for someone else's journey. Let's get a love and romance, and then we're going to get up out of here. Yes. Okay, perfect. I have prayed to release my idea of expected outcomes for some time now. And this is the best thing that we can do, right? One of the hardest decisions for me, you know, in 2020 was, you know, to make a decision for my outcome, knowing that it would change situations and being okay with decisions that other people made for themselves. I don't have the right to make that decision for them. I only have the right to make the decision for me. And either it will or it won't. Either it do or it don't. You feel me? But while I'm like sitting around, like, is it gonna happen? Are they gonna see me? Will they choose it? Will they understand? Will they? I've already surrendered my forward progress. Keep an open mind. And I can't see the truth of a situation with keep an open mind in reverse, because all I could focus on is my fear and my pain. Wedding bells, right? For many, it's going to be about commitment. Some of you could be waiting for a particular person to ask you to be in a commitment. And then they might not see commitment. Like they could say, I don't want to be married. But you could figure like, well, if I do everything right and I be perfect, maybe eventually they will come around. Instead of finding, you know, it's like they said it, like, I don't want to be married. I don't believe in commitment. So rather than you accepting that with clarity, that you're not going to get what you want from this person, you're going to stick it out. Because eventually they're going to see your worth, because it's arrogant. It's arrogant. Because we're not in reality, right? We could have just accepted that, felt the pain of that, which is what we're trying to avoid, right? Accepted that, switch gears and go after what we want. But we don't want that, because we want to be like judge, jury, executioner. I said it has to be this way. And then when we endure so much pain, we want to blame the person, but they kind of told you. Right? And I have experienced this in my own fucking life. Like, I'm not telling you something that I have not experienced. Right? Deception and passion. So we're lying to ourselves when we already know the truth, right? Right? Or even if we don't know the truth, right? We're lying to ourselves because we feel like I'm a good person, I do things good. Of course, this person will eventually see my worth, and they'll love me and they'll be passionate. But maybe they won't. Maybe they ain't gonna be shit. You feel me? So it's like now you're freaking out and going crazy. Are they gonna betray me? You might be watching their social media. What are they doing? Are they lying? Are they with somebody else? But you're not living. You're not living. I spent several years in that energy, worried about what somebody else was doing so much that I wasn't living. Okay, worth waiting for? Look at this. Worth waiting for. So while you're waiting to this person to see your worth or to see your perspective, or you know what I'm saying? You have third party here. Is there somebody else? Are they going to choose me? Right? And you never get to feel the joy of, you know, that young or early in the relationship when everything is like good. You don't get to feel that frequency because you're always worried about what's going to happen. Past returns, right? Perhaps an ex-lover or a past life. Maybe because you're worried about the past returning, or maybe this is the actual. You don't have to change because you haven't chosen yourself. You haven't chose your own self-worth, because you're too busy waiting on them to see your worth. So they don't have to choose you. They don't, okay? Pay attention to the red flags. Right? mind you, and I'm going to talk to the ladies for a minute because this could go either way, right? We already saw the divine feminine completely out of whack, upside down, freaking out, waiting for someone else to choose her, whether it's her parents, her children, her friend, whatever, right? Then you have, pay attention to the red flags with the divine masculine. So now, this masculine, male or female, right? All they see is that maybe you're not their equal. Because they're paying attention to the red flags about how you don't choose yourself, how you don't love yourself, how you don't believe in yourself. So you know what? They feel like you don't even listen to your own intuition. How can they put faith in you if you don't have faith in you? If you don't have faith that you're worth it? You see the dilemma here? Right? It's not fun anymore. Right? You don't even have faith in your own destiny. How are they going to have faith in it? Because what you're saying to them is, I'm nothing without you. I'm nothing without your approval. I'm nothing without your love. Right? Childhood love. And maybe this stems from, you know, some type of insecurity or lack in your childhood, right? And then what happens? It feels like the air is sucked out of a relationship, whether it's your child relationship, your parent relationship, your romantic relationship. And then this person wants to get away because it's a frequency of lack. It's runner chaser, right? So what happens? Time with friends, right? Now they want to get the fuck away from you, right? So they could breathe, because even if the words are unsaid, there's this frequency of like, I'm trying to control it, right? And then that's how someone else comes in and they get around other people and they're like, oh, this person over here, their frequency feels whole. So guess what they're going to do? Because you didn't value you, so they don't value you. You told them that their decision, it was up to them, and that they're more important, and that you're going to sit there and you're going to wait for them. Right? It's time to cleanse this. Even if it's painful, even if you have to cry, even if you have to let go, right? Because that's how you make room for other people to choose you. If you choose you, the right people will choose you, okay? Date night, right? I feel like we need to start courting ourselves, whether you're in a relationship or not, courting the things that you want, the future you want, the decisions you want for yourself, right? So you can choose love for yourself. Are you choosing to love yourself, or are you waiting for someone to choose to love you, right? Because we have to be together forever, or whatever the case may be, right? It's lack, right? If you feel whole, what is whole will be drawn to you. If you feel lack, what someone else who lacks worthiness is going to be drawn to you, so that way you'll give them your power, and then they will feel more complete because you told them they were more important. And how many times have I said, never be less so someone else could be more? And that's what we're talking about here. It's about letting your insecurities fucking just destroy your life and perpetuate heartbreak because of some hurtful words, right? Or fears that what's going to be said or what's going to be done, right? So you can't have that new life that you want. Okay, birth that new creative idea. You can't do it because you're so worried about what this other person's gonna do. Okay? Okay? So it's like spirit wants to put the frequency of love for self-love so that you can see how much other people value you, but in your fear and pain, all you're showing is that you feel someone else is more important, or that you're less if you don't have something external from yourself, okay? So that's pretty much what I have for you guys. I know this was a heavy subject, but I feel like we have to talk about how we stand in our own way. I'm not saying or trying to say that people won't hurt you, or that they haven't hurt you, or that your fears are not valid, right? They could be absolutely valid, but you can't let them rule you. You can't, you have to face your fears in spite of them. Okay? You have to go after your destiny in spite of pain, in spite of fear. Okay? Not be, I'm going to say it again, in spiritual paralysis for something that hasn't happened yet, or that may happen again. Okay? It doesn't matter. You have to choose your own. How would you change your life, right? If you no longer want to deal with this pain of not being chosen, then stop choosing the same thing. If you don't want to be, you don't want to feel powerless, stop giving your power away. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have for you guys. I just like to say thank you to my returning subscribers for coming through and spending a little time with me. And if you're a new viewer and you felt that I resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and comment, as I'd love to have you as part of the Lovely Soul family. I'm wishing you all light and love and blessings on blessings. Namaste, gang, gang. Bye.